Wow. You guys, what is up? It's been like literally 3 months since I've posted a podcast episode. I'm on a completely brand new channel. I think I'll probably even be uploading with 0 subscribers. I'm not too sure. If you are completely new to Diaries of an Outcast podcast, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. Not going to regret clicking on my channel. If you're not new to the Diaries of an Outcast, you probably know me from my other YouTube channel, which is basically like my vlogging, styling, and just more like personal YouTube. I used to post my podcast episodes on there, but then I decided to branch off and just make my podcast its own YouTube channel. Along with that as well, I've made a separate Instagram for my podcast. So please go check that out on there. That's where I'm going to update you guys on what I'm posting for the week. I post clips of my podcast episodes, motivational things. I also will do like Q&As of like what you guys want to see on there. So definitely go check out that Instagram and follow me on there to stay updated on the Diaries of an Outcast podcast. But yeah, y'all, like I am in a whole different space. If you saw my last YouTube channel on wait, what? If you saw my last YouTube video on my other YouTube channel, you'll see that I moved. I moved in with my boyfriend. We got an apartment and it has been amazing. I love the apartment. We're still, decorating. It's been about a month since we moved in. My dear mentor brought over some decorations and stuff. My friend Gabby has helped us decorate. So we definitely have some helping hands and I really appreciate that. Um, but yeah, y'all, like I'm just so happy to be back. And yeah, like let's get into it. So, in the beginning of each of my podcast episodes, since it is a new podcast, since this is a brand new channel, I like to give like a description or objective or like the value, like a description of my podcast, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And I actually typed this description up like months ago. But I am gonna read it to you guys. I might like change some things around, but yeah. So, in this podcast, everything I will be talking about is revolving around being an outcast, hence the name Darius and Outcast podcast. In my life, I don't mean that like I didn't have any friends or I've been like completely rejected from society, but all my life I have felt like an outcast one way or another from my friends, from my dearest friends. I feel very different from them, and that doesn't mean that I don't feel connected to them. Um, and also just another disclaimer, when I'm saying like outcast, I feel different, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm so different from everyone and everyone sucks, because I do feel like that notion is sometimes pushed when people say like they're different, and that's not what I'm trying to say at all. I just know that I'm just different from my peers. I usually have a different opinion, a different perspective, or a different outlook on life than my peers. I think about personal development a lot, all the time, and I speak to you guys about it consistently, and I'm always trying to improve myself. um and I'm sure like my friends are always trying to improve themselves too, but personal development is not necessarily their forte. They don't like necessarily talking about it, learning about it, things like that. And that's totally okay. But feeling like an outcast also ties in, I feel like, with being a multiracial person. Um, Most of my like racial identity is black and white. And so those two things are so contradicting. Growing up with both of these things has been a little difficult, and I have felt outcasted many times from my peers, for feeling like I'm too preppy. Like people literally tell me I'm too preppy or I talk white, whatever that means, or hanging out with, people who are white, and they're saying like I'm too ghetto, I'm too much, I'm too loud, you know what I mean? So that, and then also coming from generations of poverty, I think has uniquely shaped me and provided me with whoa providing me with special insights that I really just want to bring to light and share with you guys. I feel like I haven't found anyone online. I mean, there are people, but no one that I have personally connected with who, who is open about coming from, a difficult upbringing, who's talking about it and integrating it into their content. I haven't really seen that, so I'm here to fill that gap. Um, Also being like a first generation college student, navigating that, figuring out things on my own and navigating life, the stress and anxiety that's tied with the unknown of the outcome of my future, things like that. And I just want to welcome a space for the outsiders, the ones who never quite feel like they fit in the world. In this podcast, I'll explore what it means to feel like an outcast in today's world. Um, and I'm just very excited, guys, because I feel like this is a new route. You know, I got a new YouTube channel, a new space. I feel like this is a new chapter for me in my podcast. Um, and just my content as a whole. And I feel like I have been very much so slacking, and I can definitely say that and admit that. All right. So I don't even know what I'm going to name this podcast episode yet, but what I have at the top of my notes is please find some hobbies and get offline. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. Also, y'all, like, I just want to say, like, okay, I'm going to start this off just like this. I'm going to be straight up with y'all. Is it just me, or when I scroll through social media, mainly Instagram and TikTok, I begin to feel behind. I begin to feel incapable, incompetent, ugly, and like I'm doing everything wrong and like I need to rebrand my whole life. Every time I step foot on one of those apps to scroll. Yeah, I don't scroll anymore. Like the only time I'm really scrolling is when I'm trying to gain inspiration for my own content or my friend that I do content for. That is really the only time where I'm scrolling. Um or I'll go on TikTok to look up something specific. I just can't do it anymore. It's getting too crazy, the overconsumption, the rebranding, the aesthetics, all of it is just getting too much. And I think I made a video on this, and I think it's on my other channel. I think it is a podcast episode. I'll leave it on the screen, and it's similar to this one, but y'all, it's getting out of hand. And I feel like I've been actually feeling like this not forever, but honestly, since like the beginning of last year, the beginning of 2023, I've been feeling like this. I feel like, and yeah, I do feel like it's just me. I really feel like I needed to make this video because I feel like I needed to speak out on this because no one else, at least like where I'm at, like, yeah, I see influencers making videos about it, commentators, people are making videos about it, but in my life, or for the majority, like, people aren't talking about this. People, from what I see, people love the internet. There's nothing, bad they could say about the internet. And, there are amazing things about the internet. I use the internet every freaking day. And so I don't want to even be contradicting in this video. I do want you guys to know, like, I'm online. I use my phone. I'm not 80 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I am online, but I have rerouted the way that I use online. And it hasn't even been difficult for me to reroute because I notice how bad being on social media makes me feel for the most part. And honestly, like, yeah, I feel like we as Gen Z have a problem about not talking about the problems we are facing. And this is interesting because Gen Zs are actually known to be more open about like mental health struggles and, issues that they are facing, that so we think. So we think, and that is probably true in comparison to, you know, older generations. That is probably very true. But it's interesting because Gen Z is still the most lonely generation, even though we're more open and accepting. We're still the most lonely generation, which is very interesting to me. Um, I do think that Gen Z has this interesting way, and this is not nothing new. That people have been doing this for centuries, but online has amplified, to the extent this is happening. And what I'm referring to is just people only presenting the most curated points of their life, only the most curated aspects of their life. I do this. You know what I mean? My pictures on Instagram are some of the most curated. All right, this is a little awkward. It's not the same day from those previous clips that you guys were just seeing. Apparently my microphone died in the middle of me recording, and I found that out while editing 30 minutes worth of clips, but we're back and I'm here to talk to you guys because I really want to share my thoughts on this topic. So let's just get right back into it. Talking about how we are posting the most curated aspects of our lives. See, my whole thing is like, I'm not saying that creators should do a complete 360 and like start posting more relatable content, because I know that was a whole thing, I think like last year or even earlier this year, where people were like, I guess consumers, I guess, were asking for creators to put out more relatable content. And I think that was just stemming from people being tired of seeing such aesthetically pleasing lives. You know, at first it was great. Like, wow, your life is beautiful. Mine's can be like that too. But then you really get into it, you know, you compare, you know, what you're seeing online to your real life, and that's when it starts to get, I think, a little bit troublesome.
I just hit 60K subscribers on YouTube and I'm about to delete that channel. And I really want to tell you something that you need to know about your social media career. So, just a little backstory so y'all can understand. But I started a YouTube channel a few years ago and I was doing relatable content, you know, day in the life of a 9 to 5 worker and how to do this on low income and minimalism, things like that. I was real, I was relatable. But here's the thing, I started making a lot of money. Then I started a rental car business, and then I started making even more money. People felt like they couldn't relate to me anymore. At first, I was offended because I'm thinking, y'all don't want to see people grow. Y'all don't like to see people grow. But it's not that. It's just you doing these things. People didn't subscribe to you for that, right? They didn't subscribe to you to see you live in this lifestyle. They came to you because you were similar to their lifestyle. I say that to say this. You are not becoming a content creator and doing all of this work to stay relatable. After a while, you're going to be different, right? After a while, your content is going to change. You don't have to delete your social media for that. I'm just saying, be prepared for a new audience because your old audience might not stick around, and don't be upset by it. It's just how the game goes.
I think that's why people were realizing that, and that's why they wanted creators to start creating more relatable content. And I totally get it. However, I don't think it's fair to put that on every single creator, because maybe that's just not their niche. That's not who they are. That's not how they create. And that's okay. I do think that there is still space, a lot of space for that, you know, the perfectly created, curated content, very aesthetic, because we love that. I love watching those videos sometimes, but it is very, very refreshing, I think. Very, yeah, I guess the word is refreshing when you see a more relatable content creator that is just more maybe realistic, or you know, you see things in their life that you can really relate to. And I think it's just good to have that online. And that is like part of why I want to make an online presence, because I understand how contradicting I am by being online and posting curated pictures, but also wanting more relatable content, wanting people to be more open and honest. Like, I realize how contradicting that is, but I'm also trying to fill a space online where I feel like there's lack, I guess. Creators who are, you know, posting the more curated, aesthetically pleasing content as well as the more relatable content. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. However, I think it's also difficult because there needs to be a boundary there of like how much people can actually see your real realistic life, because there are some aspects of like my own life that I don't like to share online that I feel like a lot of people could relate to, but I just not ready to share that, or I just don't feel like it should be shared in general, whatever the case may be. I guess aside from like the like aspects of social media that can affect you, and like comparison and all that, which I mean it's still in that realm, I wanted to talk about how people are like normalizing the overconsumption that is going on in our, I want to say society. I want to say it's mainly our generation of Gen Z, millennial, Gen Alpha, for the most part, who are, I believe, to be over consuming And once again, I play a part in this, but I'm also very conscious about like how much I consume as far as like buying things, you know? I feel like it's very interesting. Like I'm not even trying to be funny, bro. Like I'm not even trying to be funny. But like when I'm at school and I'm walking around campus, people are wearing the same thing. And that's not a problem, but when it's the same thing from a TikTok trend or something that went viral on TikTok or you know, the thing that all the it girlies have to have at the moment, like for example, of course, the Stanley water bottle, um, the Lululemon. I don't know really what exactly is trending at the moment, but I'm kind of just going off of like past trends. But people, you know, I'm not even trying to be funny, bro. But like, especially like the females, like, of course, I feel like that's women are more likely to participate in a trend, especially when it has to do with like clothing, makeup, of course, things like that. Women are more likely to participate in. So that's why I see a lot of girls that have like a lot of the same things. And it's not a bad thing per se, but I think it just speaks to how much we are chronically online. And actually, I saw this comment on somebody's video last week. I think I took a screenshot of it. I'll leave it on the screen if I find it. And it was talking about how you can literally tell how much someone is online by looking at their outfit. And I've never seen a more true comment in my freaking life because it's so true. Like, you know, the trending style, like, how do I say this? When you open up Instagram, you go on your for you page, and it's different for everyone. But when I go on my for you page, I see a lot of the same style, and I like when it comes to fashion, bro. It's so interesting because I am very hard on myself. I think that I am not pushing myself out of my comfort zone enough when it comes to my style. I want to be more creative. I want to, obviously get more pieces, more accessories, and overall just be more creative and express myself more through fashion. And I find myself wanting to get inspired by the outfits I see on Instagram, for example, which I do for the most part. But I realize like when I actually like if either I actually put the fit on or I actually really look at the outfit, I'm like, I actually don't even like this for real. It's just I've seen it so many times. It's been pushed in my face over and over and over again. I've become immune to it, and now I look at it like that's the style that everyone should be aiming towards, I guess. And I don't even necessarily think that way. I think personal style is personal style. There's not a one style fits all or one style that everyone should be wearing, even if it is trending. um I guess what I'm like saying here is that I'm realizing that in order, I guess, okay, here's what I'm trying to say. I feel like being a person that's into fashion, someone that wants to um be known for fashion, one of the things I want to be known for is fashion. I have a hard time believing that that is going to become true because I'm not emulating the outfits I'm seeing on Instagram, the outfits that are trending, right? Or if that makes sense, I don't have the accessories or the certain pieces that are trending right now. So I feel like I'm not going to get enough traction, enough attention to my outfits, to my styling, whatever. And so I doubt myself is what I'm trying to say. I doubt myself because I am not dressing in a way I'm not dressing in the way that I'm seeing online. And it's interesting too because even when I was in New York about a month ago for 4 days, and that was my first time there. And 4 days is not nearly enough to see the whole city at all. But I saw a big chunk of the city, and I'm thinking like I'm gonna see people walking around in these outfits that I see on Instagram and on TikTok. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think I seen one that really you could say like, "Oh yeah, I seen that on Instagram," or like, "Yeah, that's an Instagram fit," if you know what I mean. I didn't see anyone dressing like that, and it was interesting because a lot of the people that I follow who are dressing in this way, and I will leave examples on the screen of what I'm talking about, are in New York and are, walking the streets, taking pictures on the streets, making content on the streets. And I'm like, where y'all at though? And I'm low key realizing that maybe these outfits are not very practical. So they maybe just create content in them, which would be really refreshing to actually know, because then I'm like, I'm over here trying to wear these outfits to school on a practical day, and it's just too much. And I'm over here doubting myself because I can't do it. I don't know. But I'm also still on a journey, and it's an ever going journey, of course, but I still am on this journey of figuring out who I really am and how I really want to express myself through style. And I think this is a part of the journey, is learning that I don't have to copy what I see online. I also think that, hot take from a fashion person, I think that being basic is actually kind of cool sometimes. And not basic in terms of like being basic of getting everything that everybody else has, but being basic in terms of just wearing what you like, even if it is very simple, because you like it and it works for you. I am all for that. Like the dads that wear jeans and their Nikes and a sweater every single day, or the woman that wears jeans and a button up and, some dress shoes every day. Like that, I feel like is a simple life. And there's actually a lot of I think different quotes from like designers and like just different people in the fashion industry that have talked about how turning going a more simple route with your clothing can actually just be better for you overall on your mental health. It'll save you time. It will save you, the decision fatigue. So honestly, I feel like I'm kind of moving into this era of just like putting on what feels good in the moment and not pressuring myself to stand out and, you know, have the best outfit. Cause like, yeah, I'm always gonna look put together. I'm always gonna look fly. Don't get that wrong, baby. I'm always gonna look fly. But I just think that I need to be less hard on myself, and stop comparing myself to fashion that I'm seeing online. Period. Yeah, y'all. Like, social media is an interesting place because it's so contradicting for me. I love it. On one hand, I get very inspired by it. There's so many great aspects to it. My hobby is literally to be online. But on the other hand, too much of it or the wrong type of social media can really just make me doubt myself in my whole entire life. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, it probably sounds very dramatic to some people. Dramatic to some people. I don't know how many people feel this way. It might be relatable, it might be dramatic. I don't know. But I do feel like when I am online for too long, or if I'm on certain parts of online and I'm constantly consuming perfect, created, aesthetically pleasing content, and I'm comparing myself to the lifestyles that I see and the girls that I see, I don't feel good after that. And I find it so interesting that like barely anyone is talking about this, but it's literally like there's no way nobody else feels like this, because comparing is literally a natural human thing. It's natural, it's not bad to want to compare yourself or to compare yourself to people. I think people are low key like maybe ashamed or embarrassed to admit that they like compare themselves and they feel less than. And I get it. It is hard to say. But I'm the type of person where I'm just open. I don't really care. Like, I'm just an open book in that way, where I can tell someone how I feel even if it is kind of embarrassing. And I just wish more people would talk about this, how social media is very good, but it's also very bad. But I think all of these feelings, honestly, like I feel like all of them contribute to just me wanting more for myself and more for my life. And, you know, the pressure that I have on myself to create the life that I want and to just get there already, you know? But I've honestly gotten rid of that timeline, like the timeline of like when I have to have everything done. I've gotten rid of that for the most part because it really doesn't do me any good. Um, but I think that when I go online and I compare, and then after that, you know, I feel less than, or I feel like I'm not doing enough, I really do think that is just a reflection of me wanting more. You know, I think that is why we compare. Usually we compare because, you know, that person has something that we don't, something that we lack, or, you know, whatnot. And I really do like to look into situations where I'm comparing myself, or where I feel jealous. And you know, jealousy is another thing that people write out to be just this downright terrible bad thing. If you're a jealous person, you're bitter, you know, and I just simply don't believe that. I think that jealousy, much like comparison, is just a signal to you to what you might want in your life. It's a signal that you don't have something that you want. You know what I mean? Like if I see a girl out here and she has the Benz truck that I want with the green interior, I'm gonna feel a little jealousy. Like, cause I want that freaking car. And I want the lifestyle. I want to be able to have the money to pay for that car. Yes, I'm freaking jealous. But that just lets me know what I want. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And really, it's not even the car. Yeah, I want the car, of course. But I what I want is financial stability, the ability to purchase a nice luxury car, something that no one in my family has ever been able to do. Of course, I want that. And I just think that people need to change their mindset on jealousy a little bit. Because, again, people don't like to admit when they're jealous. I'll straight up say, I'm jealous. I will even tell the person that I am jealous of that, like, hey, like, I'm low key jealous, bro. Like, you got this, you got that. Like, girl, I really do want that. And I'm just telling you because I think people need to be more open about when they're jealous. It's not a bad thing. I'm not envying you. I don't, um, it becomes a bad thing when you are wishing bad on that person, or you wish that that person, you think that that person doesn't deserve that thing, or that you should have it instead of them. That's when it's a bad thing. That's when jealousy becomes bad. We do need to find more things to do outside of just being online. Even me, like, I love creating content. I'm going to continue to create content, but I do think I need to find hobbies outside, even outside of creating content, because it forces me to be online. So finding hobbies that are offline, bro, like painting, knitting, I don't know, dog walking, if that's a hobby. That's probably a job. I don't know. I mean, that could be a hobby, I guess. And I'm kind of on this pursuit of finding different hobbies that I like to do because for I mean, previous to, you know, college and all of that, I was playing sports, so that was kind of my hobby. And then getting into college, I just became really busy with school and with work, and my only hobby was kind of just content. And that's kind of just where I've been for the last couple of years, and I really want to try out new things, try out new experiences because I feel like I've been keeping myself really comfortable and I just want to get out of my comfort zone. Um and I think that just, you know, it sounds corny, bro, but like just setting down the phone and doing something outside of your phone, outside of your iPad, your laptop, whatever electronic device, I think is just good for the mind. It's good for the soul because we're just not meant to be on these devices really at all, but we're not meant to be on them for as much as as much as we are on them. We shouldn't be. And I'm speaking to myself as well. But I've just became also just more okay with not having my phone everywhere. yeah, I just feel like there just needs to be more balance with how much we're online and how much we're doing other things that don't involve, technology and being online and all of that. When you're online and you find yourself comparing to someone or to something or getting a little jealous, pause for a moment and try to figure out, like, what am I jealous of in this situation or of this person, whatever. Figure that out, because it can be really eye opening, and it could be something that you haven't even thought about, that you actually do maybe subconsciously want. You just haven't brought it to your conscious mind yet. So I think that's I think that's important. So yeah, that is all I wanted to talk to you guys about today. So this will be uploaded, of course, on my new channel. If you aren't subscribed to my main channel, definitely go subscribe at the Day J. I also post vlogs, I post fashion things and things like that. So definitely go check that out and follow both of my Instagram pages. And I will see you guys in my next episode. Bye. I was counting up on a private flight.